Hello, I'm Kiki, welcome to the video. Today I'll be drawing my favourite horror characters from my favourite horror movies. Warning, this video will have spoilers for The Shining, Carrie and Final Destination. First is Wendy Torrance from The Shining, based on the book by Stephen King, also called The Shining. In the film, Wendy and her husband Jack and their 5-year-old son Danny stay at the Overlook Hotel over winter, as Jack gets a job as a caretaker there and looks after it whilst it's closed. Jack is warned that the last caretaker before him was driven mad from isolation and murdered his wife and 2 daughters, but Jack's like, nah, that will not happen to me. Also, the son Danny has a telepathic power that is called The Shining, and he starts seeing visions from the Overlook Hotel before they arrive, such as 2 girls and blood pouring out of a lift. The head chef of the hotel, Dick Halloran, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his surname right, who also has The Shining, warns Danny to stay away from room 127. After they stayed there for a few months, Jack has made no progress on his book, and he keeps yelling at Wendy for stupid stuff like when she asked him if he wants to go on a walk later or if he wants a sandwich. So, poor Wendy. Jack later falls asleep whilst writing and he begins to make really loud noises, just like my dog when he's sleeping. And when Wednesday goes to check on her husband and she wakes him up, he says he had a dream where he killed her and Danny. That's such a nice dream. I'd be running away if I were Wendy. Well, there was a lot of snow, so I guess she probably couldn't. Danny walks in on his parents after he'd just been into room 127, despite what had been told by Dick. Wendy notices the bruises around Danny's neck and starts accusing Jack of being the cause, which is fair for her to do, as he had just started saying that he was going to kill them, that he would kill them both in a dream, and also in the past he had dislocated Danny's arm whilst he was drunk. Jack kind of starts going crazy after that, and he goes into an empty bar and then he just sees people there, and so he talks to the old caretaker, Delbert Grady, the same Delbert Grady who had killed his whole family. The caretaker then tells Jack that he should correct his wife and son, aka kill them. The rest of the movie, Jack chases Danny and Wendy around the hotel with an axe, while strange things occur at the hotel. Also Dick, the chef, who also has The Shining, senses that Torrances are in trouble, so he goes to see if they need help, but is then killed by Jack, sadly. At the end of the movie, Wendy and Danny manage to escape and Jack freezes to death in the maze. Overall, it's an amazing film and it's worth watching. Wendy is definitely my favourite character, which is why I'm drawing her. I tried to make it look like a photograph, like a faded photograph with cracked glass over the top. I'm not sure how well it worked, but yeah. The next movie is Carrie, another horror film based off a Stephen King book. I've only ever seen the 1976 movie, even though I do know there are 2 remakes, and I think there's also a spin-off, though I have seen the series called I'm Not Okay With It, which I've heard is based off Carrie, and that's super cool, and it's so sad when it got cancelled and only got 1 season. Carrie is about a shy girl who's tormented by her classmates and has an abusive mother, but finds out she has telepathic abilities. In the first scene of the whole movie, Carrie is being yelled at by her classmates for messing up whilst playing sports in PE, which is incredibly irritable. People love to scream at other people if they don't catch something or do a not very good throw. Then, when Carrie is showering, she starts having her first period, but she doesn't know what it is because she's never been told about them and believes she's dying, so she starts begging her classmates to help her, and they're just laughing at her, and then they start throwing tampons at her, screaming, plug it up, plug it up. And then the teacher realises what's happening, and then she just slaps Carrie to calm her down. I'm not sure if slapping was the nicest way to go about it, but it works. But also whilst Carrie was being laughed at, she made a light bulb explode with her mind. Kara then goes to the head teacher's office where he calls her Cassie multiple times despite her correcting him every time, and then when he messes her name up for the 4th time, she makes his ashtray fall on the floor with her mind. Carrie's then allowed the rest of the day off and the other girls get detention. Carrie goes home and she asks her mum why she never told her about periods, but Carrie's mother just drags her into a small room and makes her pray. One of the girls, Sue, feels bad for Carrie and she asks her boyfriend Tommy Ross to ask her to the prom. Another girl, Chris, just hates Carrie even more, and so she gets her boyfriend, so her and her boyfriend, Billy Nolan, come up with a plan to humiliate her in front of the whole school for literally no other reason other than the fact that they are both horrible. Tommy does ask Carrie to the prom, and she initially says no, but then he persuades her to go. Carrie's mum is no to her going to the prom, but then Carrie's yeah. So then her mum chucks tea or some sort of drink in her face, and then Carrie slams all of the windows shut and tells her mum she's going to the prom and that she can't stop her because she has telepathic powers. And then Carrie gets ready for prom. Her mother says, before she goes, her mother just says to her, "They were all going to laugh at you." Tommy convinces Carrie they should vote for themselves to be prom king and queen, but though due to Billy and Chris already rigging the votes, Carrie and Tommy do win. They go on stage and get crowned, but that's when Chris's plan finally happens and she pours pig's blood all over Carrie in front of the whole school, leaving her mortified. Carrie's mother's words echoed around her head in her mind as she sees everybody laughing at her. And also Tommy gets killed by the bucket lightly hitting his head. I'm not sure how that killed him, but it did. Carrie then just locks everybody that's in the prom and then just kills them all. The only people who do escape are Chris and Billy, but they don't live much longer as Carrie flips over their car and it explodes. Carrie then goes home and her mum just starts trying to stab her. So then Carrie stabs her back with utensils and she dies, but she is hanging in a way which resembles Jesus' death on the cross. The house then begins to shake aggressively and Carrie drags her mother's dead body into the small prayer room as the house collapses on top of them, impaling and killing Carrie. Carrie is such a tragic and sad film, and Carrie deserves so much better. I feel so sorry for her. That if people had only been nicer to her, then none of the bad things would have happened to them all. Finally, I'm drawing Erin Ulmer from the film Final Destination 3. Final Destination is a franchise of 6 films where a group of people will cheat death by one of the characters having a premonition of the accident that would take all their lives. And then Death is angry by that, so he tries to come back and kill them all. In very, very gruesome ways. Erin is from the 3rd movie of the series, where a group of classmates, including Erin and her boyfriend Ian, get on a roller coaster, and one of the girls, Wendy, has a premonition of it crashing and killing them all. Wendy starts screaming to be let off, and eventually a few of the people are allowed off, but a couple of people are still on, and the roller coaster crashes, killing all the people riding it just as Wendy had predicted. From there, Death tries to kill all the survivors, and Wendy and one of the other guys from the roller coaster, Kevin, try to save everyone. They go to see Erin and Ian at their work, and Death tries to kill Ian there, but Kevin shoves him out of the way, and therefore saving Ian for a while. The Death moves on and kills Erin by making her fall backwards into a nail gun, and it goes off multiple times right through the back of her head, and it's just you can see all the nails poking out the front of her skull. It's quite horrible. Honestly, I'd really like to cosplay Dead Erin one day. Ian then decides he needs to kill Wendy for this all to be over, and he's kind of driven mad by seeing his girlfriend die in front of him, which honestly I can't blame him. And he's screaming, "I'm not gonna die" at Wendy, and then he gets crushed by a sign and dies. Wendy and the other survivors are saved, but then 6 months later or something, I don't know exactly, I haven't rewatched this film for 7 months, die in a train crash. So yeah, I left out a lot more stuff that happens in all of these films. In Final Destination, I left out so many other deaths and loads of more characters, but I definitely recommend watching all the films because they are so good. Anyways, here's all the art that I made for this video. I might do another. Maybe if I do another, I can draw all my favourite guy characters, because for this video I only drew girls. So yeah, maybe I could draw some more guys. Comment your favourite film, favourite horror film, and comment your favourite scary movie, and also comment your favourite horror character. Anyways, if you watched the end, thank you so much, and have a nice day.